Hi, this is Wendy from Wendy's Jewelry Creation. Just now I finished a pair of earrings, or I say one earring that I just finished making, and I want you guys to see what it is that I do when I actually put an earring together. I found this here on, if I'm correct, I think it was Amazon, and this is a piece of bone carved to look like a feather. I just totally fell in love with this. I had to get it. I had to make an earring out of this. So anyway, I got some of the components of the earring ready here so that you can see what I'm going to do. And I'm going to start with making this part of the earring that holds the feather. Okay, so I needed to cut a piece of wire. So I started by cutting, and if I'm correct, I have it's about 2.5-inch wire. It's a 22 gauge. I didn't want to do 20 gauge because it would have been too thick, and I didn't want to do 24 because it would have been too thin. So I got this 22 sterling silver gauge, and I'm going to start by looping that in here, and I'll show you what I'm doing. What I like to do is I like to start with the loop on top, which is going to go on the earring itself. So you bend that back, come forward. Okay, basically that's that. Then I'm going to take this part here, hold it, and I'm going to start to wrap this around. And believe me, it's not easy. I'm self-taught to do this by reading books and looking at videos, and so I'm not I would say an expert in jewelry making, but you know, I do it and I'm still learning, of course. So you see how I'm trying to wrap that. I'm using this bent nose pliers, and sometimes it's really hard to get that little loop all the way around. See, I almost got it. So now I just want to make sure that it stays nice and tight. Okay, so there you go. I got my first loop. You can see that. Now I'm going to make the part that's going to go in that hole. So I'm going to use this other tool. Really weird, but it helps you to make loops. So I'm going to decide I'm going to use this side here. These are different sizes. And I'm going to use that side. So I start with holding my loop this way, and now I'm going to wrap it around until I make almost like a circle. See that? Now remember, you have to be able to thread it in here. So put it in. I'm going all the way around. Okay. So there you go. I got that part. All right, and now I'm going to make sure that this part is. So now you start bending it to what you need for it to do. So I need for this to go like that. This piece is going to get wrapped around. And I'm going to start by holding this. Well, actually, I'm going to start by bending it this way, just to get it a little bit. And as you can see, guys, I have no nails because I am constantly doing either facials or I'm doing jewelry. So you can't have nails with this kind of work. So I'm going to take my bent nose pliers. See, I already wrapped that around there. I'm going to hold this in place, and I'm going to start wrapping this. And believe me, like I said, it's not easy. And I'm dealing with bone too, so you really want to be careful you don't break the bone while you're working with it. So see, I looped it again with my own hands, and I'm gonna wrap it again, trying to get a nice little wrap on it. Okay, it's like I said, this wire, I use half hard wire, and it is not easy. Sometimes I have to use my my hands to wrap it, or I mean my fingers to get it to go around, but it is not easy. And you see, I did get it around. I didn't get it all the way around, but I want to cut a little bit of this excess right here. Okay, so we're just gonna always put your finger and cover it, because let me tell you, when you nip these, those pieces of silver, they could fly right in your eye. And I'm pushing this down so that it's nice and flush. And then you see, if you still see a little piece right there, cut it. You don't have to keep it, just cut it. It's not needed, okay? So now we're just going to make sure that this is straight, it looks good, it moves. You don't want it to be stiff. You want movement with this earring. Okay, and I'm just gonna make sure that this is the way I want. Nice and straight. So there you go. I got that piece. All right, now we're gonna finish the rest. Let me just make sure that this is nice and tight. I don't like my pieces hanging out anywhere. Okay, and that looks good. There you go. So I got that part done. Now we're gonna do the next piece, okay, which is this part here, right? So that's basically, we're gonna take an O-ring, which is this right here, and we're going to, you don't open it this way, you open it this way. And we're gonna start by putting the chains. I already pre-cut the chain to look like the same length as the first one. And so you always want, let's see, so this is our small chain, our long chain, and our medium chain. I like to alternate the sizes. So I'm gonna start with the medium cut chain, the one I cut that's medium between the three. And I'm gonna put that there. And then I'm gonna go with the longer chain, and I'm gonna put that there. And then I'm gonna go with the shorter chain, and I'm gonna put that right there. Okay, so there you go. Got my chains. I'm gonna rest this for a second. All right, now, before I continue, I need to make this hook here, that this is the hook that goes into the ear so that the earring will hang. I like to make mine fresh if I can, instead of buying them already made, because I know the quality of silver that I use. So this is a 20 gauge, this is a little thicker, it's half hard, and I already cut, I would say about 1.5 inches, I would say. And I'm going to show you guys how I make the ear hook. It's so easy. Huh. Wait until you see this. So I start with, these are really, really, really thin. And I start with, by curling the end in. Okay, I go all the way until I touch it to the other side. So there it goes. Okay. Then I take my tool over here, this is my new favorite tool. I really love this. And basically, I'm going to do this size here. This is too thin. You want to have a nice thick loop that it can go into the ear really good. So what I'm going to do is that I place the little loop I just made facing this way, so it's curved this way in, and then I start taking the other end and I wrap it around. Okay? And you keep wrapping it because I want a nice little circle. So then you take it out. This is what it looks like when you first take it out. And then you bend it into the way you want to bend it. So I like mine to have a nice little curve. So I really would like it to be like that. Okay, and then you're gonna open it just a little bit. You're gonna push this part down a little bit. There, and you got your hoop, or I should say loop. You got your little loop there. And then you always take that end right there. You can take your bent nose plier, and then you can just make sure it's straight, and you give it a little, and that's your ear hook right there. And that's really easy. Doesn't take much to do it. You just want to make sure that they look the same. You know, if you feel that you don't, then you just move it around. This you know, silver bends. You can bend it front, back. You can just do whatever you need to do to make it look like the first one you did. Okay? So what I like to do is I like to make sure that I start by putting the feather. I want to put the feather on. Okay? The bone feather. Okay, so we already have that, but we're going to leave it open. We're not going to close it yet. All right? And then you see here, you have these open already. You have that open right there. So you're going to close it. And when you close it, you're going to push it back in place. And you're going to let it connect like it did before. You're going to slide it in place until you see that it meets. You don't see any hole. If you do see a hole, if you see a little gap right there, then you just open it again, push it in, or I should say towards each other, and then you do it again. And see, you get a nice close. Okay, so that I'm happy with that. That looks like the way I want it. Okay, that's nice and closed. So now we're gonna add the turquoise. So I use the pinheads that are also sterling silver, and it looks like a pin. It has a little head on it. And we're gonna start by putting the turquoise. This is real turquoise, it's just really green. And I also have these little tiny balls. I just like to make it look a little more decorative. So I'm gonna add the little balls to this, and you gotta have a steady hand. There you go. So you have your turquoise in your bowl right there. Okay? And then we're going to start by turning it. We're gonna make a little loop again. So you loop it one side, you come around this side, and there. You have your loop. So we're gonna start by hooking these to the end of the chain. All right, so let's see, we just gotta get it right in the chain. Okay, we're gonna hold this here. We're gonna start wrapping that end around. Sometimes I could do it with my hand like I'm doing now, but there comes to a point that you can't get it around anymore by yourself. You gotta use your tools. So there it is, and I'm just trying to wrap it around. Okay, and then just want to make sure I'm sort of twisting and pinching at the same time all the way around. So that little end, instead of me nipping that end, I didn't have to because there wasn't a lot of excess. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take another pinhead. Okay, and there goes my other pinhead. I got my piece of turquoise. Like I said, this one is real turquoise that I'm using. I'm not using the howlite turquoise. I'm using actual turquoise. It's just really green. It's a green type of turquoise instead of the bluish green. I just added my little sterling silver bead. Okay, and now I'm gonna make my loop. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna bring this around. And I'm gonna go across, and there you go again. And same thing, I'm gonna put it at the end of the chain. And like I said, steady hand, steady hand. Sometimes everything moves, but you know, you do your best. Believe it or not, I find this to be really relaxing. Okay, so with your pliers, you start wrapping. And like I said, you're gonna wrap into a certain extent. After that, you can't do it with your thumb anymore. You use your bent nose plier. You could use a straight nose plier, but I like to use my bent. And then I'm pressing and twirling to get it a nice even so that end disappears. So we already got 2, we got 1 more to go. And let's see, let me do that one. So here we go. Now these these needle heads or pin needles or whatever you want to call them. I call them my pin heads because I have little heads. They come in different sizes. This happens to be 1 inch. There's 1.5 inches and there's 2 inches. 2 inches is really long. I don't use it for a lot of things. That's a 2-inch pin head and that's a 1 inch. So it's pretty long. Okay, and then so we're gonna do the same thing. Okay, I'm gonna get my piece of turquoise. I'm gonna get my little sterling silver bead. Okay, and my pliers here. And I'm gonna start by bending it and then bending it forward, bending it around. There we go. And then I'm going to stick it in the chain again. You always try to do things in 3s or 5s or 7s. It just looks better to the eye. It just looks more interesting than getting 4 chains or 6 chains. It just looks nicer if you do odd numbers. All right, and then here we hold it again. Okay, and I'm just twisting that wire around, picking up my pliers again, and just making sure I get a nice wrap around. Okay, you don't want to squish the little sterling silver ball that you just put there either, because believe me, these things are hollow and you can squish them. Okay, so as you see, I want it a certain way, so let's see, there we go. Okay, so I got it done. Now remember, we left this open here on top. So we're just gonna put that like that. Okay, and now I'm gonna take my pliers and I'm going to close that so this won't open up and everything I've done come out and get loose. And there you go. So now we have a pair of earrings. Okay, and you want to make them look the same on both sides. These feathers that are carved bone feathers, they're only going in one direction, and that's okay. This is you know, you're making handmade jewelry. This is not machine made, so it looks cute. But you do want these pieces here where the chain comes down to look even. So you got the 2 smallers in the inner, you got the long one here in the middle, and then you got the medium size on the outer. You do want that to be even on both earrings so that it looks good. Okay? And there you go. All right, beautiful turquoise, sterling silver, and bone earrings. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please share it. If you like it, just let other people know about it. I'm going to be doing this more often, and I hope you enjoyed it, and you have a good night. And I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.